watching Universal Groove, and I'm your DJ, Santana. Growing up in Santa Fe Springs back in 1970 is where we moved to Santa Fe Springs, but my family's been here before I was even born. And back in the 70s, it was a hot place, you know. Grew up right here in the barrio Cantarranas, and used to hang out at the park, and there was a lot of, back in the 70s, there was a lot of killings going on, a lot of gang warfare. But during that time, my parents kind of kept me away from the park all the time, because every weekend somebody was dead or there was kinds of gangbanging going on. So in the 70s, it was pretty, it was often popping, man. It was often popping in the city. But my parents kind of kept me away from all that, but I was still kind of, lingering into it still, but they kept me away from that, and a lot of that was because through my father used to play a lot of music and all that. There's a lot of history right here in Santa Fe Springs. For my dad, and my mom, they were both from Watts, and they both lived across the tracks from each other. And I don't know how they really met. I know, hear stories, when you have parties and family telling stories, they invite this homegirl over, that homeboy over, and they'll be telling stories. So you're a little kid and you're hearing little stories. But my dad's from Watts, my mom's from Watts. My dad was 6'4", and he was light skinned, His eyes will change, I guess you call them hazel eyes or whatever. Totally different from what I look like, And he was a big man, strong man. Like, again, he knew a lot of people, man. A lot of people behind the walls and people from, he's been around, but his passion was music. As me opening up my eyes and walking around the house, in the household at 2 years old, I can remember at 2, there was these round black discs all over the floor, and growing up, as time grows up, as I'm growing up, I'm 5, 6 years old, and I used to see him get the 45, and he had a talent, and he'll like he's waxing a car like a bomb, he's waxing each side, and he slips them in the sleeves. Next record, cleans them up. Next record, because every Saturday night, he didn't need nobody to party with, man. All he did is went in his garage, and back in those days, they used to have these big giant hi-fi stereos, and he'll open it up, throw 10 records, click it, and he'll sit back and drink his Budweiser right there. He didn't need nobody to party with, and people would just drive by, stop in the alley, because we lived on the alley, stop by, and before you know it, I look through the window, there's a party going on, just automatically, bro. What I feel that I got from my dad, my father's side, is like, I inherit the music, and I, I'll be honest with you, I wish that he was alive today to see where I'm at today, where a man run a studio playing the music that he loved, took his music to another level, instead of just being in the back of in the garage by itself, we took it to the world, and I'm grateful for that, and I was telling at Flood's funeral, if God allowed him to look down just a little glimpse to see what's going on, and if God allows my dad to just see what's going on, because reality, I did it for him, it's like, cause my dad was my passion. I did it for him, and I had it was burned inside my soul, my spirit, my heart, that people need to hear this music. It's been locked away for years, and they needed to hear this music. And so for that, I really inherited my dad on that part. My mom, she was a little different, man. She was more like growing up that I heard stories, she was more like a tomboy. She was about 5 foot, real good looking lady, China eyes, and real humble. Out of all the aunts, she's really humble, because my mom comes from a mean side. That family bloodline of my mom's side, they're mean, and my aunts, they're mean. They're bold. They'll tell you straight out. They'll tell you where to go. I mean, and these are short ladies. You know what I mean? And my mom was just a little different. I think out of all of them, she was more kind, compassionate. She's always having everybody come to the house. Cousins that, you know, didn't want to live with their parents no more, stood on our pad. Doors were always open. So that was like the safe zone, you know, for the whole family. So she was a little different, man. I mean, she was not into the music and all that. She let my dad do whatever he wanted to do. You know what I mean? Playing this music. She's in the house watching TV, and you know, and but she loved to dance, bro. She loved to dance. She liked to swing away, tira la chancla, you know what I mean, and all that. And they were, man, they were into the rock and roll. They were into the rock and roll.
Mustang Sally. Guess you better slow your Mustang down.
My father was an alcoholic and a drug addict, and like I said, he liked to party all the time. You know, the garage was open, people would drive by, and there was a party. He didn't invite nobody. This is his pad. He just cracked his beers open, and people would drive by. They know the garage is open. They say, "Hey, man, Neto got his rolas on the stop." You know, before you know it, man, there's like 30 dudes heads deep. You know, guys and girls, and but you know, like again, you know, he was an alcoholic. A drug addict, and through the whole family, our household, it could have been, its part was in chaos, you know what I mean? Because his alcoholism, because we didn't know what kind of man he was coming home. Every time he came in from work, we all used to run and hide in the room and look out the window and see what mood he was in. If he was in a bad mood, we stood in the room. If he was in a good mood, then, you know, man, hey, everybody's, yoo-hoo, you know what I mean? But no, he was a violent man too, you know, a violent man. And we were very scared of him because 6'4", man, big muscles, you know. Yeah, man, alcoholism really was a big issue in our family, big issue. My father found God, I think it was 1980. I was about 12 years old, and things were changing for the better and all that. But again, things are changing for the better for him and for my mother, but things were changing in my life too. So I started taking advantage of his kindness, his weakness, of his kindness. Then that's how I ended up starting getting into the vaudeville, you know what I mean? Started going towards the neighborhood, going to junior high at Lake Center Junior High right here in Santa Fe Springs. Had a partner named Eddie Reese, and that's when Zoot would make the whole play during that time. So every Friday, me and him would go to school in a junior high, bro. This junior high, and Stacy Adams, our pleated pants, our vest tied, and wear the thongo, and we're looking smooth through here. I mean, and only on school days for dances, Fridays on dances, bro. So we're looking sharp, you know what I mean? Trying to scope out the jainitas and stuff like that. But that's how I grew up with, you know, Stacy Adams. As I'm growing up, started blending in towards the vaudeville, you know, slowly, you know, gradually in. Things started changing when I got jumped from another neighborhood for the vaudeville that I live in now, you know, and that changed my life. I got jumped not from the homies, from another neighborhood, and now it changed my life. From then, it just corrupted a calm kid to a monster, to like I was mad, bro. I was mad, and I carried that anger with me through the years, you know, through teenagerhood, and then, you know, just the crazy life after that. Not even my parents could have stopped me, or my older brothers and all that, because I didn't care no more. I didn't care. I was done with all that. I just wanted to, you know, live my life and live it fast, you know. After I was jumped, the first person I reached out to was He was just a little older than me. Just call him Crazy Angel, and me and him used to ride lowrider bikes together and all that stuff. And we're all over the place. I don't know why, how, what, but we're in East LA on the boulevard, all these places. But Torres reached out and he started showing me the tricks of the trades. You know what I mean? Of the gang life, and with him and my homeboy Mike Trejo, my homeboy Borcho, Eddie Duke. A lot of us had protection, and for me, I always start off 12 gauge, man, seven pump. That's all. It was always with me, you know, and that's all I can say really from then on, because that's what I had back then. Yeah, man, you know, I think not just us, but I think every neighborhood had the protection, and that's what it was back then, you know. You have to protect yourself. It was a crazy time of the year of that time, man. When the 80s came, the 70s came, gangs were, it was deep. People, murders after murders. When the 80s came, it changed the scenery. What I'm saying is that nobody really was not putting no more gang banging was in. People were listening to the new cut, the hip hop, the R&B. People started to cruise the boulevard in a different way. Mini trucks were coming in, Sentras, lowriders were going out slowly, and so it changed the whole atmosphere going, and you could talk to a lot of the homies too, because today they'll tell, man, the only why they went to the thing because they were girls, man. You know what I mean? You go in the backyard, big backyard party, 3-4 kegs, $2 to get in, pump that sucker up, and it was on, and you got your encouragement on, and you think you're sweet daddy, and you want to talk to the roquitas and all that, but that's how things started changing. So yes, gang life, 70 started dying out. They were still there, but dying out. But then party crews started coming in. As they're coming in, and see, remember, our family's still part of neighborhoods. You know what I mean? Gang life, and so the younger brothers trying to find, okay, I want to do something different, and this was what happened. The Fat Boys, Run DMC, all Curtis Blow, all these groups started coming in, and it started changing the atmosphere of the 80s. And the 80s was a whole different era, man, where don't get me wrong, there were still there were backyard shootings, people were still from neighborhoods, but hanging out undercover, not undercover, the dressing was just a little different, bro, but they were still from the neighborhood, But hanging out with my cousin Arnold from Norwalk, one day they lived on 162nd Street, right next to Hiroshima Park. And one day I came to his house. He just got out of the joint, and this was in the 80s, bro. And I walked in his garage, and he was always into oldies. I was into oldies and all that, but more the doo-wop. But when I heard Spow from Blue Magic, what's that? I asked him, what's that? And he goes, oh man, this is Spow from Blue Magic. I said, I never heard that before. I heard, Sideshow and all the other stuff, but never heard Spow. That right there really changed my whole momentum about music, about this is a different kind of music, soul music, that it's gonna kind of change the whole dynamic. Little bit know that there was stuff out there already, didn't even know a lot of that stuff existed. So that right there changed my life. This is back in 86, 85, and that would really change my life towards soul music. So he was the first one kind of introduced that to me. Once again, music comes straight from the barrio, you know what I mean? That's where you're learning that stuff from. When I was in junior high school, again, okay, back to got jumped, the gang life and all that stuff, but still in junior high school at the 8th grade, I see my one of my homie Paul Rodriguez. Today they call him Champagne Explosion. It was back then in the '80s, you know, like the rock of the '80s and all that stuff. I seen him up on stage DJing, and that's where it opened my eyes. Like, man, I want to do that. I mean, it was burning my heart because he had the music. It was perfect. I go, I want to do that, you know. And that's when I started buying records for, you know, that era of the '80s, you know, hip hop and R&B. The first LP I bought really was Sugar Hill Gang. You know what I mean? Rapper's Delight. You know, I was about 13 years old when I picked up that record. You know, got on my 10-speed, rode all the way to Weeder Downs. You know, at least 3 miles down to the record store back then. You know, working for the city back then. You know, summer jobs. You know, so save all your money, start building your little collection. But my first record was the Sugar Hill Gang, bro. The reason why I bought the Sugar Hill Gang record is because during that time, you know, hey, popping was coming in, all that crazy dancing was coming in, and all that. And if you know how to do that, you're in junior high, you got the ladies, bro. You know what I mean? You're walking around with your head freaking this big, somebody popping, you know. But that sound was perfect for what you wanted to do. Not only that, it was a good mix because the claps, the beats was a good mix. So yeah, man, Sugar Hill Gang, they put a big stamp on my life. Yeah, in high school, my dad bought me my first equipment, and back then you didn't know too much. I know Techniques turntables were out, man. They were very expensive for us back then and all that. But I had some Yamahas and a Newmark mixer, and we're using that, which is cool, you know. But again, you're 16 years old trying to put something together. And then I had a friend, he had all the speakers, and you know, he had a little more money than I had, so you know, his parents bought him his Techniques turntables and all that. So what we did, we put our equipment together and just put out flyers. Back in the days, you would put flyers out. Hey, party over here, this and that, and hey, $2 get in. And it was so funny, bro. It's so funny is that my homies, my best friend, you know, he his dad was involved with our party and all that. He the one bought us 3 cakes and tied them up, you know, and all that. And he was serving beer, man, to teenagers out the window, you know. And so he was all involved, and I'm laughing because the dad's there passing out beer, and people are just coming in like, hey, that back there was packed, bro. So we made like $800 that night, you know. I mean, spend like $200 on a keg of beer. He came up with $600, you know. And then a lot of times after that, you know, like when you made enough money. And it's crazy, it's a joke, but when you made enough money and you felt that the party, you know, before something happens, you call the cop and they'll come and break up the party, bro. But that's what it was, bro. I mean, it sounds funny, but it's kind of gotcha, but you know something's going to pop. So you get the cops on before it pops, and you don't have that trouble in your house, you know, you don't get marked for that trouble. Before that party that night, we had a ditching party at my house. My parents' house. So remember, my dad, he's a Christian man now, so we're older now. And my mom's supposed to go to work, and she didn't. And that day, I'm like, oh man, what is she doing home? You know? And then and like people started coming over, and my mom like, what's going on? I go, okay, Mom. Hey, we're having a ditchy party. We're having a ditchy party now. Then we're gonna have another party at night. And she was cool with it, bro. You know, she was cool with it. Everybody, man, back there was packed, man. Beers were flowing. Everything was popping. You know what I mean? My mom and he was out there dancing with everybody. Like, what? You know what I mean? So I mean, that was good time. Good time. And so all that was all good. And then we went into the night, and we went to the party, man. And so those are good days, man. Good times, man. Good times. But yeah, that's what it was, man. Back then, we used to get together and backyard boogie. Backyard boogie. I mean, really a huge fan of Joe Patan, believe it or not. You know what I mean? Joe Patan, I mean, growing up again with all my cousins, they played some Joe Patan, Rafi Pagan. And, you know, and that kind of like really inspired me towards Latin soul. You know, they call him that King of Latin movement, you know? And I always had Joe Patan and Rafi Pagan in my right. You know, I never had too many I did have some rare soul music and all that, but I was more at that time. I was more into like Joe Patan and not even that, even War. You know, I love War. War was like summertime, man. Going to the beach and put that on, or War was like, man, you're going on a mission. You know, you put War on, you're on a mission. You know, but mostly Joe Patan was like, man, something about his voice, and today he still has that voice, and it does something to me, and so it made me dig deeper what Joe had, and Joe had a lot more stuff, man. I mean, a lot more stuff that people never heard. I mean, right now there's a song that I don't even people know about how earnestly he has, man. Bad rola right there, man. Real deep. But yeah, Joe Patan, that was like one of my, and today's one of my greatest singers that I like. I mean, there's a lot of great singers I like right now, but Joe, during that time, opened my eyes to a lot of Latin soul. That's what it opened my eyes to. The music I was playing back then was like the jazz band, Rick James, Tina Marie, shoot, bro, there were all kinds of Sky, man, by Let's Celebrate, man, Barcades, bro, the Barcades right there, man, Midnight Star, SOS Band. I mean, you can keep on going with all that nice stuff, bro, and that was me right there on the notch, bro. That was my stilo when I played, and then you want to get a little harder, yeah, man, you got more bounce, Roger, Do It Roger, Zap, you want to, the one ways and stuff like that, I mean, that's when you want to really get all gangster on, but yeah, man, that was me right down the notch. The one song that I could say that rocks the parties by George Clinton, Atomic Dog. Like we're talking about, it's that bass line, and once you put that on, and that bass kind of hits, and you can feel it, and that sends a signal to the girls, man. That's what it comes down to, and they'll come on, let's get it on, you know what I mean? Because we got to remember, back in those days, in the 80s, they used to do a dance called a nasty, bro. So they're still today, or back that thing up, whatever. You know what I'm saying, bro? But that's what it was back then, That brings a lot of memories, You hear that song, Atomic Dog, come on, and man, that floor is just packed, bro. There's two songs I hate, man. I used to like Genius of Love in junior high school. But man, Art LeBeau burned that song 24/7. I got tired of it. I go, man, he's on a roll, plays a couple of good rolas, and next thing, he throws Genius of Love and this nice mix-up oldies, like, I don't know, bro. It's just I got tired of it, man. And the other one by Gene Chandler, bro, Duke of Row. I can't stand that song, bro. It's just the act, he does, and I see people try to act like that. It's like, oh my God, But Gene Chandler has some bad rolas, man, different kind of rolas, you know what I mean? And all that. But yeah, those two songs, man, they were chips. As a matter of fact, my Karnaf love tells me, hey, I'm gonna play you your two favorite songs. Like, nah, don't even do that, bro. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. Those two worst songs I don't even want to hear, bro. The song that really important to me is called Daddy's Home. My dad used to play that a lot, and it reminds me of my brother Ernie, who just passed away too, just recently too. Every time I'll be on the air, hey bro, play Daddy's Home, and I'll play it for him all the time, The other song too, Johnny and Joe, Over the Mountain, that remind me of my dad, and so yeah, those songs. There's a lot of songs, There's songs that Tina Marie, Deja Vu, my Karnaf love, who just passed away too, brings a lot of memories, man. You know what I mean? And I'll be real, man. I'll be at work, and sometimes, I'll put on headphones, and all these songs will come on, and I'm still healing from all that, But yeah, you know what? Those songs remind me of my family. There's a lot of songs, man, and so yeah, we can get emotional. We can get you know, we can get thinking of some of this music, you know. My brother Fluffy, he passed away from the COVID. Now, the story was not story, reality happened, and I'm gonna be truthful. It all happened right here. Right here, we're in the studio. It's during the 4th of July weekend. I was really feeling sick, you know. So the whole house had COVID, and but I was feeling sick, and I think the 4th of July, I went to the doctors, and when I went, and you know, and they checked me in, they told me you're straight out COVID, man. And I knew something was wrong with me, not because I had no fever. I breathe okay, but something that started, I feel like something stabbing me all day long, you know, and I couldn't sleep and tossing and turning, and I mean, so it's a nightmare. And so that day, a friend of mine came over too. We didn't know what was going on yet. So I was laying on the floor and we're watching TV. Fluff came home, sat down watching TV, but he was feeling sick like a week before me, but he didn't realize what was really going on. So he went to the doctors, and they were checking. He thought something wrong with his stomach and all that. And then they sent him home, and okay, so he started taking his pills and all that. And then Tuesday, so that would be July 7th. He got up. I was still messed up. I was in bed July 7th. He got up and he goes, "I'm going to the doctor's tonight." I said, "Okay," and all that. Let me know what's up and all that. So he goes. So they hooked him up and they say, "Man, you got COVID," and he couldn't believe it. You know, how did he get COVID? Well, me and Fluff were not seeing each other at that. You know, like we're not communicating because. You know, so he didn't get it from us. Supposedly somebody from the store that he worked at and all that. So he got it. He stood there for 2 days, and they were telling him, "Well, you know, go home. You need to go home." He goes, "I can't because the house is locked down." So they end up bringing him home in the ambulance and brought him home, and they brought his respirator, all the whole 9 yards. Like, I'm wondering, what's all this about? That it didn't catch. I mean, and so and when he came in, he looked at me through this window, and I looked through him, and I could see him say, hey, bro, we're gonna fight this, you know. Otherwise, telling me, "Hey, we're gonna get better, you know, and we're gonna get through this." And I told him, "All right, bro," you know what I mean. So for 2 days, I text him back and forth because you know, from room to room, where I was texting him. And then I think Friday, about 5 o'clock, that's the last time he got a text. And my daughters then want to go get him some food, and they left it on the doorstep, so he got it. After that, we didn't hear nothing, so I thought something was wrong. So I texted him at 10 o'clock at night, Friday. That would be July, I think 10th or something like that. And I didn't get no response, and I got caught up, you know, got sidelined because I was still sick like a dog, you know. And 2:30 in the morning, something woke me up, and I told my wife, I don't hear my brother. And so I end up getting dressed up, blankets, everything over me, and I had to go through the front house, walked around to the back, and the door was open. He never leaves the door open. And I seen him on the couch, and I'm yelling at him, and there's no response. And I already knew, but he fell asleep with his phone like he was texting somebody and all that. And I knew right there and then that, you know, I lost Fluff, man. And so I told my wife, call the paramedics and all. They came, and so they, you know, they're all quarantined. So by 6 o'clock in the morning Saturday, you know, they removed them from my house, and I left the studio. It was all messed up for at least about 2 weeks, man, because, you know, it was the virus. During that time, my other brother, Ernie, he ended up in the hospital. So he died a week after Fluff, you know what I mean? So it was, I mean, I took a big hit. During that time, so Fluff is gone, my brother Ernie's gone. months before that, my older brother died. So I lost all 3 brothers in the year. You know, yeah, I talk about it because COVID's real, man. People say it's not real. I felt it. It almost killed me. I spun out on the last 2 days. Told my wife, I think I'm gonna die. You know, it started affecting my brain and all that. So, and this honest truth, man. I mean, if you want to keep it in the clip or not, but I want to go lay down on the last day. When Fluff passed, I was still sick, but I want to go lay down, and I asked God, you know, God, if you're gonna heal me or kill me. Take me. I can't take this pain no more. The pain's so severe. I don't want nobody to go through it. And 15 minutes, man, like something happened. It all lifted up. Got up in the morning like nothing ever happened. Had me a cup of coffee. Like I haven't had coffee for like 3 weeks. And then on a Sunday, like everything just came out of my body. Just started like vomiting all over the place. But after that, it was over with, you know. But yeah, at this time, we need to be very safe, man, and who we hang around with. And, you know, we're all going to get it. One way or another, depends how it's going to affect us. For me, it'd be very rare I get it again, or my family and all that. So I'm just asking everybody out there to be safe. I guess it's not going to go away yet. It's not going to go away. So, yeah, for Fluff, man, you know, I want to thank everybody, too, who gave to him, gave for him. You guys, the one who put up the funeral and did all the arrangements. Thank you very much. That's from my heart. Thank you. I couldn't do it without everybody out there that supported. Thank you very much. The Santana Soul Radio came about, man, I had an idea, matter of fact, back in 1995. I was living in Riverside, and I was hearing 88.3 Radio Aslan, and they played a lot of like Chicano soul, and mainly they were stuck in that era, you know what I mean? I didn't really hear them play a lot of oldies and stuff like that, or rare soul, and at that time, I had a stack of CDs. I mean, stacks. I mean, I still have them, bro. I put them in the vault, you know? And deep inside me, I'll be sitting out as a Christian man, sitting out going to church, sitting out in my garage, and I built this bad lowrider bike, and I used to park it right there next to me, turn the lights on, and hear the station. I said, nah, man, I don't think they're hitting it right. I just felt it inside my spirit. Something's more than that. So I felt like, you know what, how could I do this to broadcast around the world? You know what I mean? I go, sure enough, they won't let me into their little crowd. You know what I mean? And because I have the bag of tricks. So one day I thought in my head, let me get a CB radio, plug everything in, and just press it and play. You know what I mean? That was my first idea. And but that never happened. And after during that time, I still had that in play in my head. And so when we moved back over here, my dad passed away, so I moved back. I was helping my mom. During that time, you know, I was doing church and all that. And I met this guy from church. He was a counterfeiter, so he knew about computers. See, internet back then was only for the big radio station. So I told him what I wanted to do, and so he kind of like, all right. So like 2 years went by, 3 years, and one day he calls me like, hey, bro, I got this. It's on a U Stream. And see, back then Ustream was weak, and it was not like today Mixler is. And so it was Ustream, and so I told him, hey man, I want you to call the show Sock 'em Up Oldies. That's what the original was Sock 'em Up Oldies. And he goes, what do you mean by that? Because I go, looking at them young, and you're looking out through the window, and my dad, he'd have these parties, and they'd get all drunk, and two camaradas be fighting, be dumb, and fighting for dumb reasons, you know what I mean? And it always happened. Every Chicano wedding happens. Come on now. So I seen all this, and one day he goes, check it out. So he put the Santana show. So that's how it came about. So I grabbed it, and my first studio was in the church I owned. So I plugged it in there. So I had these other pastors come in, and to them it was a fine line, but I'll play for 30 minutes, a couple of oldies, and then we'll give a word, encouraging word to the world. And that was it. Then it was like once a month on a Saturday. Then I went twice a month on a Saturday, and then I lost the church building because they were building the freeway, the 5 the Winess, so they took out the whole building. So I moved it over here to the studio and to my house, and we started, dialoguing, playing more music, and people are loving, giving encouraging word. And I wish I went back to those days again, man. So that happened, and then one day I call him my son. Right now he's behind the walls right now, but my son George, he's the one brought IG to my attention, Instagram. He was telling me, hey Pops, have you ever done Instagram? I go, I don't know computers and all these gadgets, I can barely even read Facebook. I go, and he goes, nah, let's hook it up on IG and let's see what it does. And so we hooked it up on IG, and the first week we played up. So we started playing every Friday night now. So the first Friday night, like 200 people hit, and then the next Friday another 200 or 300, and like in a month it was over like 2,000 or 3,000 people. I said, wow, man. And so that's how we started taking off on IG, and at the time we still had Ustream, and then I switched over to Mixler because Ustream had a lot of problems, which I like Ustream because Ustream you can use a live camera with and all that. Mixer you can't have live camera, so you gotta find another way how to hook it up. So that's why we do Mixer and IG. So that's how that started. So reality, George set that up, and we started taking dedications, people from Tejas, from all over, and it just started growing and growing, and here we are today. It's like really like out there, really out there. Yeah, you know what? Every time we turn on, and more fans keep on coming through, new people, and it affected my life in a good way because I felt like I'm doing the right thing. So I'm introducing rare soul music to the world where it's been hidden only in certain places, or you only could play that kind of record at a certain place, and only if you're invited. What I've done is I opened up the floodgates, like Bruce Lee opened up Kung Fu. I've done the same thing. Does a lot of people agree with it? Maybe not. You know what I mean? But I believe that the world needed to be introduced to this rare soul music, and give all the collectors credit for collecting the records, because those records don't cost a penny. You know what I mean? And I always said, to me over the station, I don't care if you pay $1 or $10,000. It's a rola, you like it, that's all what matters. You know what I mean? So for me, for me to see how the show's doing so good, I'm grateful. But I'm grateful for the fans for making the show the way it is. The biggest gig I ever done was once again Frisco's with Larry Collins and a bunch of other cats were there, and we had the 626 family there. We had a bunch of people, came out and spin at the show, but it was crazy because this was the first gig really we've done that, okay, let's just do it. We thought maybe a few cars and play some rolas, and we're up on top of this big stage and looking down at everybody, and you know, you see cars coming in, they're parking them, more coming in, more coming, and before you know it, before you turn around, before you know it, and we're broadcasting it live too. You know, we're telling people if you're out there, come on down, blah blah. So before you turn around and you look, oh my God, this place is super packed. You talking about, you got everybody around, even bikers. You got everybody you can think of that's there. Cars that have been on magazines were there. People are telling me, hey, we can't come in because they blocked the freeway from Azusa and from, I think, Fullerton. It was blocked. You couldn't even go down Gale Street to come in because it was so packed that by the time it was, I think, 9 o'clock, the sheriffs came in and said you have to break. They broke it all up, helicopter, circles. I mean, we didn't know this thing was going to be that huge. It was so huge, man. You're talking about almost 2,000 cars, bro. 2,000. You know how many people there? People are all over the place. All over. I mean, Home Depot had no place for people to shop at no more, and all the stores were all it was just unbelievable. But that was one of the biggest shows we've done, man. In the soul scene, you know, there's a lot of miscommunication in a way. Miscommunication because, you know, a lot of us probably are ex-gang members because the music comes from the barrio, okay? And in the Chicano world, you'll remember us Mexicans are prideful people, man. We're not gonna take nothing from nobody for no race. That's how we are. That's private, and we bring that with us. You know, we bring that luggage with us. So we change out of the neighborhood. Not saying going away from the neighborhood, but we go into something else. But we still carry that luggage with us. You know what I mean? And so in the soul scene, it's like, and even in the funk scene, because you know there's a lot of funksters out there. Well, you know, I got the rarest funk or this and that. And it all depends on your crowd. Again, party crews back in the 80s, same thing. So nothing really changed, just the package changed, that's all. So in the soul scene, yes, there's a lot of conflict. Because somebody said, well, I got the record, you don't have this record, but I have this record. You can't get this record and all that. And so they feel proud what they have because they'll spend $2 or $3 grand just for to have that record to be recognized. I have this record and all that, and hats off to that. But it's a little bit of how you said it, it's a little bit of little skeptical. You know what I mean? You got to watch what you say. You know, or who you try to put down. All these things because it comes right back. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, a lot of people get their words mixed up. They don't really mean it like that. A lot of texting going on, whatever. And the main thing, when somebody says something, get it from the horse's mouth. Don't get it from somebody else's. And that's what starts a lot of, you know, conflict. The issue with a lot of great collectors, which, you know, I respect them. You know what I mean? I respect them for being collectors. I mean, solid collectors. I respect them. I don't really respect what some of them, what they do when they downgrade other collectors coming up. Oh, that's a repress. Oh, that's oh, I heard that one. Oh, I had that one. Oh, that's in my box. Or all these things. And what you're doing, man, you're downgrading the people that they idol you as a collector. They're idling you, man. And you're downgrading these people who worship of you, you know? I mean, I could name some big giant names and all that. And I can name some other people where, well, you know, that person was like my number one, you know, but I don't like his attitude, or I don't like the way, you know, they walk in and there's some kind of big shot, or, you know, for whoever, if it's a he or a she, because there's a lot of great she collectors out there right now too. You know what I mean? So that was those little issues I have to deal with sometimes, you know, and all that. For me, I'm always for the underdog because I know what the great collectors have. I know what they have, man. And when they come here, they play, man. They know what I like, and they'll drop that stuff. You know, I like crossover, and they're dropping, and they know me. It's woo, hands up, yeah, boy. You know, take it home, take it home. You know, but I feel like some of the collectors should reach out to these other young generation collectors and give them some good advice. Instead of tearing down the soul house, build a soul house, build it up. You know what I mean? And anything you do, if it's soul music, lowrider cars, life is a competition. If you're an artist, life is a competition. Why? That's our nature, I guess. That's our nature. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a doozy, man. All the fans out there, once again, with all my heart, my soul, man, thank you very much for being beside me through the good times and bad times, hard times, and I'm grateful for you making the show what it is. It was not I just had an idea, but it's you who made the show for what it is, and looking forward to meet new fans too. You know, those you know, looking forward, and I'll, again, whatever I can do, you let me know. You know, I'll do the best I can. But once again, I just want to thank all you fans out there, all of you out there. Your words not going void with me. I thank you so much for what you have done for Santana Soul Radio. Thank you. Be blessed. If you ever want to look me up on Mixler, Santana Soul Radio, Mixler.com, or go to IG Santana Soul Radio.